Hi, this is Karen Whelan. I'm the coordinator for the Homebound program for Special School District of St. Louis County, putting together this online resource for the homebound teachers to help with the new format of our attendance and anecdotal record documentation. I hope you'll find this helpful and easy to use. The presentation will move through the slides automatically, so you just sit back and let's get started. As we work through the process of being paperless, we continue to try and improve our systems to make things easier for you and more accurate for attendance data entering purposes. We've made some minor changes to the header boxes to clarify some of the issues we were having. We've also reworked how the lines for your anecdotal records work to make them easier for you to use. Most importantly, we've added some additional boxes that automatically calculate the total attendance time and the service time you offered, but the student didn't access. The form will also track how much time you still owe the student for that particular pay period. We believe the changes will make the whole process less complicated for all of us. As I mentioned, the header section is only slightly changed, with some boxes moved around and the sizes changed so that the data displays more accurately. You'll still need to type in your name, the dates, and the data that is specific to your student. All the other boxes have drop-down menus, so you can easily enter the information that is specific to that field. If no drop-down box appears, that just means you'll need to type the data into that field. When you click in a field, an arrow will appear to the right side of that box. Click that arrow and a drop-down box will appear with the selections you need. Just click the correct one to enter the information. When this is an attendance record for a student whose services have not yet been terminated, the boxes on the right will be empty. You'll complete them when you do the last attendance sheet for that student. If the choice you need does not appear in the drop-down list, click the tab at the bottom of the sheet that says Drop-down List. Then find the list you need to edit and scroll to the bottom of the list. Type the option you need in the box below the last entry of the list. When you're finished, click on the tab at the bottom of the sheet called Attendance and Anecdotal, and you'll return to the original page. When you open the drop-down list and scroll to the bottom, this time the selection you typed in will appear and you can select it. Some of the lists are very short, and this is pretty easy to do. Some lists, like the school or location lists, are very long, and you may need to scroll down quite a bit to find the bottom of the list. Watch carefully as we complete the next example. In order to save yourself time and work, we suggest that right after you've entered the header information, that you save the file with the student's name. This document will then become your template for future attendance, and you should never have to enter the header information again. Click on File and then Save As. Save it to a place you'll remember. You can create a folder named Homebound on your desktop to keep your file. Then you'll be able to open this template in the future. Remember to change the name of the document to reflect your last name, then first name, with no spaces, followed by a hyphen, and then the student's last name, first name, no spaces. Since this is your blank template, you do not need to change the dates in the title until you enter real attendance data in a form for a specific pay period. Then you will resave the document with the correct payroll period ending date in the year-month-day format. Remember to keep the -AA at the end of the document to indicate it is an attendance form. One of the issues we have discovered is there seems to be some confusion as to when we start owing service to students. We always start owing service on the initiation date, not the day you start services. That day always counts as day 1. Let's calculate the service owed on this example. If the initiation day is September 17th, then we owe service for the 17th and the 18th, even though services did not start until the 21st. So we owe for 10 days of service. When it's a full-time offering of 5 hours a week or an hour a day, that would mean 10 hours of service for this pay period. You should write 10 hours in the new box on the left side of the page. The other new box is asking if you owe any service to the student from a previous pay period. In this case, this is a new student, so 0 hours would go in this box. If it's a continuing student, you should enter any time you still owed from the previous pay period into this box. The form then automatically calculates the totals of these two boxes to tell you how much service you should offer for this pay period. You should begin recording your anecdotal records the day you accept the student by first typing in the date. To help you with your notes, we've included some sample entries on the right side of the page you can copy and paste. You can fully edit any of these entries to make them specific for your students. You can use Control-C to copy and Control-V to paste, or right-click on the entry you want to copy, and then select Copy, then right-click in the box you want to place the text, and select Paste to put it in. Continue by recording your contacts with the family and the school. You will only begin entering clock in and out times into the form when you begin providing service to the student. First, click the box marked Instruction, then enter the date, then enter your clock in time. Be sure to type the hour, then a colon, and the minutes, and then type a space followed by the letter A or P for AM or PM. Both boxes must be filled in for the form to calculate the time. Then you can copy and paste the appropriate notes on the line. You can add additional information here, like making note about what the student completed, what subjects you worked on, if it helps you with your progress reports later. Be sure you're being attentive to whether you get the full 5 hours in within a week. In this case, we have 2 hours and 27 minutes plus 2 hours and 39 minutes, which put together equal 5 hours and 6 minutes, which is just fine. It's a few minutes over, but that's much better than being a minute or two under. Remember, you owe service for the 17th and the 18th. So, in this case, the teacher offered the service and delivered it on a Saturday. You would mark it as makeup and then include an anecdotal note that explains what the makeup time is for. You can copy and paste the notes and then edit it to make it correctly reflect what the makeup time is covering. The last entry is for the first half of the week, where you offered the first of two 2.5-hour sessions for the week. You'll most likely offer the second 2.5-hour session near the end of the week, but this won't be documented until your October paperwork. The form will automatically total the hours of service you deliver to the student at the bottom. Then it will look in the box that says how many hours are owed for this pay period and calculate how much time is left. In this example, there are 19 minutes left. This is because the pay period ends on a Wednesday. And when we counted the service owed, you counted 3 hours owed for this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So far, you have only delivered 2 hours and 30 minutes in your first session for this week. You'll most likely be providing another 2-hour and 30-minute session in the second half of the week, but that session will be documented in your October 1st through 15th pay period. That means you'll actually be delivering the owed 19 minutes of service plus the 2 hours you owe for Thursday and Friday in October. So that 19 minutes of time still owed should be carried over to the next payroll documentation paperwork and entered in that new box we talked about on the left that documents the time you did not deliver in the last payroll period. Then, when you deliver the 2-hour and 30-minute session in the first week of October, you actually only owed 2 hours for Thursday and Friday, with the time written in of 19 minutes as owed from previous pay period. It will now correctly reflect that you've delivered all the service hours owed for that week. Remember, Kim will be adding the time you delivered for the last 3 days of September to the time you deliver for the first 4 days of October when she puts the attendance in for the week of September 28th through October 4th into DESE. So be sure these times are at least 5 hours when added together. An additional concern we've noticed is that the issue of documenting time offered to students which they have not been able to access has not been very clear. In response to that, we've added a new calculating column to the form so that you can type in the exact hours of time you offered, but the student didn't receive because they were not available for the service, and the form will track that total for you. So, in this example, the teacher offered 2 hours of makeup time that was owed to the student for Thursday and Friday, but the family said not to worry about it and just go ahead and start the service on Monday. You still owed those 2 hours of service, so you must document that it was offered but not accessed. You can edit the text to fit the situation. The same process can be followed when a student does not show up for a session or cancels. Remember, you don't have to provide makeup hours for those times, but you must document that it was offered and not accessed like this. The form automatically calculates the times owed and subtracts the time delivered and the time offered not accessed, and keeps track of the time you may still owe to the student. If you do owe time, remember it must be carried over and reflected into the next pay period. When you're dealing with intermittent students, the confusing piece about this process is deciding what to put in the box in the left corner that notes the hours owed to the student for the pay period. Remember, those students earn 60 minutes of service for every non-attendance day, so you won't know the total owed until the end of the pay period. You should document your contacts in the usual way, but if the student was never absent during this reporting period, you would not enter any clock in and out times. You would document your contacts with the school and in the family, and then the total in the box in the left corner would be 0. Remember, you would still be clocking in your 15 minutes of no service plan time, but it's not reflected on this attendance sheet. It's just entered on your payroll form. When you contact the family and find out that the student was absent, you should document that contact. Then, when you do provide service for that day, enter your clock in and clock out times when you deliver the service. At the end of the pay period, you should enter an hour of time for each day of absence in the box on the left. This will tell you how much service was owed. The form should calculate whether you delivered the correct time for the pay period. For a reminder, if there's any time left over owed, it should be carried over into the next attendance sheet on the next payroll period. Thanks for reviewing this online information. I hope you'll find the new form easier for you to use and that this online training was helpful to you. Please, as always, feel free to give us a call in the office if you have questions, and we will do the best we can to help you out. Thanks. Bye.